Hi, this is me, Harmeet, Sales and Brand Marketing Senior Manager, TuTeck Technologies. Welcome to episode 2 of Data Talk from TuTeck. And today's topic is clean data, smart AIML, the dynamic duo. Today we have with us Dipta Pratim Banerjee, Head of Data and Analytics, joining with us. About Dipto, his expertise lies in the technology consulting of the end-to-end data journey, starting from data engineering, data governance to data analytics. In this webinar, we are going to explore how businesses can ensure AIML and data quality processes can work together to have a better outcome. Welcome to the webinar, Dipto.
Hey, thanks, Harmeet. Thanks for the session.
Well, without doing any further delay, I will dive into the first question right away. Deepta, what do you think? How does high quality, clean data directly impact the performance and accuracy of AIML models? I mean, is it fair to say that it is directly proportional? That, clean data is directly proportional to how it impacts in the performance and accuracy of AIML?
So definitely, clean data has definitely a direct impact on the performance of any AIML model. There can be multiple factors on which the accuracy of the model will depend. For example, one is the biasness. So biasness is one of the major factors. So it can rise from errors, inconsistencies, or any underrepresentation in the data. Bias can actually have a direct impact of the outcome of the AIML model, and it can give a wrong prediction or output from what is the expectation. Then definitely after biasness, the next thing is important is the generalization. So when we actually have a data on which we actually test or build the AI model, if the data is not noisy or it has errors, then the model will be actually overfit, and it can give inaccuracies and result in the poor performance of the when it is tested on a new or unseen data. Definitely there are other factors as well. For example, when we do feature engineering, which is a very pre-step of building any AIML model. So in the feature engineering, what the data science team actually does, it tries to identify the key input parameters based on which the output parameters will be predicted. That they will build a model. If the data is not clean or has errors, then definitely when the data scientist will do the feature importance analysis, it will give a wrong output of the and wrong view of the which of the key input features they need to consider. So yeah, so definitely all these factors will depend on the data quality, and if the data is not clean, all this biasness, then this feature engineering, everything will have an effect to the AIML model, and the output will definitely be inaccurate and the performance will be very poor.
Absolutely. I mean, listening to what you just said, I believe that clean data is the foundation and the first step towards, getting there, reaching there. The second question I would like to ask you is, what are the key strategies to ensure proper data quality? We just spoke about how important it is for us to have clean data, but what are the key strategies to ensure proper data quality, which is maintained before implementing AI ML solutions?
Yeah, so not for the AIML, but for any data-related work, the strategy is very important, and the data quality as a part of the strategy starts from the very beginning of the data collection and acquisition. So we have to actually ensure that we collect have a clear data collection goal and the requirement. So based on the AIML expectation or the business objective or outcome, we have to collect the correct data so that we can actually build a model on top of a right data. So and when we collect the data, definitely so the cleanliness of the data, the validation checks that needs to be done, if that can be started very early on the data lifecycle while we'll correct the data, so that will play an important role as part of the data collection strategy. And then definitely after the data is collected, we for any cases, any AIML model, we do cleansing, we do pre-processing, we do enrichment. So without that, it's not possible to use that data. So we need to fix data areas such as there are missing values, such as there are outliers, there's anomalies. So if we don't clean the data, so this data errors will go into the training data set of the model, and it will actually affect the outcome. So we need to have a proper data cleansing strategy after we do the data collection. And then while we, as I told, the enrichment. So data enrichment also a major thing that needs to be done, because we may get some set of the data from one source, but that needs to be enriched with joining with data coming from other external sources. So those kind of enrichment will be required. So it can be a third-party data vendors. So they can integrate with the third-party data vendors to get more insight of the data. Even they can use their internal reference data model to make the data more informative and add additional features that can be leveraged by the ML model. So overall, it's an end-to-end data quality process. It's very important, which will include the assessment and improvement. The assessment and improvement is more important because I may be doing some kind of cleansing right now, but in future the requirement may change based on the kind of data coming in. So continuous assessment and improvement of the data quality process, and more importantly, documenting and training. Because in long run, if the documentation and training is not proper to the associates, the data engineers or the data quality associates, then it will be difficult to maintain the data quality space.
I think the documentation and the training process, as you just mentioned, it is the form in which the organizations need to adapt themselves. It's not just a one or two time thing.
Generally, what happens basically, we start with a proper documentation, but longer run we lose the track. So,
Yeah.
as a part of the data quality strategy, that is a very important thing, that we document each and every stage of the data quality and on every layer that we are doing.
Right. In fact, my third question is actually, very, very relevant to what we just answered. Like, how can organizations establish a culture of data quality and governance to support AIML initiatives in the long run? Because, as you just said, it's not a one or two time thing. It's something which needs to be processed in the longer run. It needs to be followed so that the system is integrated into the thing. Because if even for one time we miss it, we lose the entire thing. The system of it gets ruined. So how can organizations establish a culture of data quality according to you?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, culture of a proper data quality and governance is one of the very important thing for any data processing requirement, be it AIML or other analytics or any kind of data related use cases. Say for and this actually starts with the leadership commitment. So basically, it should be the commitment coming from the leadership. They should be have a buy-in from the leadership and the key stakeholders to create cross-functional data governance teams responsible for overseeing the data quality initiatives. It includes investment and fund management for the DQ initiatives. Definitely, that is a major thing. And then once the stakeholders are aligned, the proper data quality governance frameworks needs to be identified. We have to identify the objectives, we have to identify the scopes, and definitely define the responsibilities. So once this DQ framework objectives and responsibilities are identified, the scopes are identified, then the stakeholders needs to actually identify a proper DQ tool. That is very important. DQ tool and definitely the visualization frameworks. Because without a proper, we generally work with millions of data, and without a proper DQ tool or a visualization, it's very difficult to measure the quality of that and come up with a defined KPIs. And when I say KPIs, that is also a major thing to decide, because based on the business case, based on the objective, the KPIs will vary, and we need to come up with proper definition and proper KPIs that will meet the business objectives. Once we have everything there, so we need to have a response. We have to have documentation and training again comes here. So that is a major thing, and we need to ensure whoever is responsible to capture and process the data should have a proper training on the DQ guidelines created as per the objective, as per the data quality governance framework.
And of course, like in the last webinar, I remember, in the episode one, we just discussed that it is also important that only the leadership team or the people who are trusted have the source and the access to this data. So that is also there, right? What we discussed in the last webinar.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next question, Dipta, can you share me real world examples or case studies where data quality issue had a significant impact on the AIML project outcome?
Yes, so if we see, we can find out many, several those cases. If I take some example, like in 2016, if I remember correctly, Microsoft actually came up with a chatbot, AI chatbot that is called, I think, Tail. So what happened? It was designed to learn from and engage in the conversation with users on social media. So when it was actually used, it was found that it started making offensive and inappropriate remarks. Now, when the engineers, the data scientists tried to find out the root cause of this, they found that the training data, which was again obtained from a public interaction, so it was a external data, so was biased, and hence the model performance was also very poor. So that was a typical example of the biasness that I talked earlier, where if the data is not is biased to a particular kind of sentiment or something like that, then definitely the outcome will be actually very. Similarly, the same thing for Google. So there was Google Photos actually provided recognition. So Google image recognition that was released much earlier. So I believe on 2015 or something like that. In that time, so Google Photos in 2015, it actually showed that it wrongly identified or wrongly labeled the African American. And that was also because the training data that was used to train that model was not diverse. And that is actually resulted in a biased and offensive results when they are executed when a defined kind of African people. So these are two use cases that I can think of right now. Apart from that, if you find there will be plenty of use cases in the healthcare, finance, and especially right now we have autonomous vehicles, which actually uses AI ML models to run on the road. So if any of the model performance is poor, so that can lead to a life security hazards or maybe a potential financial losses if it is in the banking sector.
Well, that was a perfect example of a clean data in its truest sense because the chatbot actually was talking about abusive and trash things in reply. So clean data in the truest sense, right? Thank you so much, Dipta, for sharing the case studies with us. Well, till now we were discussing on how poor data quality can affect the performance of AIML. But is there any opportunity to improve performance of data quality using AIML?
Yes. So till if I go back 2, 3 years back, maybe something like that. AIML was the main final outcome of any data processing, but it needs a clean data. We used to do data quality, clean the data, standardize, enrich, and then feed that to AI models for a better model or better outcome prediction or whatever. And that time, in 2, 3 years back or something like that, so we actually use mainly static rules to clean the data. Like we know that as a data steward or data analyst, I was supposed to go and analyze the data, find out what kind of rules needs to be implemented to clean the data, and then clean that data to make it ready for the IMR model. Now, this data quality cleansing was a manual. Even if we use a tool kind of thing, it was a manual thing. So we need to identify manually what rules to be implemented, and that also depend on the expertise of the data analyst or the DQ engineers to identify that. But right now, so the we also have reverse that. So now AIML can actually be used to implement those data quality rules. Or identify data quality rules. So what will happen? The advantage is that as a human being, if I want to identify a data quality rule, definitely there is a chance, and definitely that will happen, that I will miss some of the important rules that needs to be implemented. If I use a AIML based model, the model will be identifying the inherent architecture, inherent structure of the data, the relation between the attributes, and can propose me the proper rule that can be applied to the data quality. So now the data quality analyst or data stewards have or a list of rules. So yeah, if I feed say 1,000 records or 1 million records, the model can give me, okay, these are the 100 rules that can be applied to your data to make it more clean. So that is one important change from the in terms of data cleansing using AIML, and that has come almost 3, 4 years back, and all the organizations are implementing that logic. Apart from that, so there can be other use cases like you can do duplicate analysis. So we generally identify a duplicate records based on the content. We match the value for one record with the other record and we identify the duplicate. What happens if the content is different but the context, the meaning is same? So you cannot identify the duplicate using a standard data quality rule. So here AIML can actually plays a very important role. It can actually parse the data, tokenize it, and there are other algorithms to actually identify the context and identify whether two records may have a different value, but actually the contextual meaning is same. So that will actually play important role to identify the duplicate data. Similar, if you can do other cleansing like data imputation. So when you have a missing values and you can use the AIML model to impute the missing values. So how that works basically, suppose you have a say 100 records, out of 100 records, maybe 90 records have all the attributes populated. 10 records have one or two attributes missing. So we can actually use the AIML model to train the based on that values that those 90 records where we have the complete record and then use that model to predict what can be the possible value for those 10 records where those attributes are missing. So this kind of data cleansing can be done, duplicate analysis, missing data imputation. So those can be done. Also, we can actually extract the relations or make it more contextual data quality by identifying relations across entities, across systems as well. You have a Oracle here, can have a data warehouse in Snowflake or in a Databricks. So you can actually do a cross validation and extract the relations between across entities in diverse data sets. So that is also possible.
Dipto, that was a lovely webinar with you with so many key takeaways from here. Well, on that note, do you have any message to say to the enterprises or businesses who are struggling with the data quality at the moment?
Yeah, so definitely, as you mentioned, the topic discussion is a dynamic duo. So AI, ML, and data quality can join hands in hand, and if leveraged properly during the data lifecycle, the outcome can be a very clean and reliable data with reduced effort, as well as with a more accurate and reliable outcomes. So we should plan when we build the data strategy. We should plan both from the very beginning of the data lifecycle. Thank you so much, Dipta, for joining with us. Excellent webinar. Thank you, Dipta, for the great insights on the clean data, smart AIML, the dynamic duo. If you have any queries or requirements around data quality, please talk to our experts at TuTeck Technologies. You can contact us at info@tuteck.com. Please visit www.tutechtechnologies.com to know more about our services. See you in the next webinar. This is me, Harmeet Sahdev, signing off. Thank you.